Boots Riley is an activist, filmmaker, and musician who is here with the cast for the premiere of their new Prime Video series called I'm a Virgo, the fantastical and awesome story of a 13-foot tall black man in Oakland, California, which just happens to be my hometown. Please welcome Jharrel Jerome, Walton Goggins, Brett Gray, Kara Young, Allius Barnes, Olivia Washington, Carmen Ejogo, and Boots Riley to the South by Southwest studio. Give it up for the cast. That's all the time we have. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. See the show. I have an origin story here. Yeah, you're like, sounds good. We lost an hour. Everyone's exhausted. Thanks for being here. You might not remember this, Boots, but I first met you at South by Southwest studio when you had a small movie premiering. I think it was called Sorry to Bother You. Yeah, it was a small movie that was premiering, and I remember Katie Couric, who I was interviewing at that time. She said, hey, want to just hang out with me and party at South by? I'm like, sure, Katie Couric. We got invited to the after party.
Hold on. You're partying with Katie Couric. That's the story.
Wait, no, this is what happened. So check it out. Okay. We go to the after party. Katie Couric comes to your after party. And she takes over your after party because you and everyone else is like, Katie Couric is at our after party. And now, fast forward 5 years, here you are premiering your show. So, on behalf of South by Southwest, welcome back, sir, and welcome back with this crew. Pleasure to be here, I'm sure, with you, and it's like so awesome to see a fellow native of the Bay Area here with a show about a 13-foot giant young black man in Oakland and his community. And when you pitch this show to Amazon, you're like, my next show, you know what I got? I got this. Yeah. What did they say?
They were like, they were like, let us think about that for a little bit. No, by the time I brought it to Amazon, I had a pilot. So, there and I made sure that I had Jharrel already on board. So I was like, 13-foot tall black man lives in Oakland. Here's the pilot. Here's the star. The guy that did Sorry to Bother You, you can't say no.
Come on. Flex. That's a lean in, flex, mic drop at the same time. And I got Jharrel with me. What? And they said, all right, take my money. Take my money. Go make this story. That's fantastic. Now, we got the whole we got most of the cast here. When you all got, I want to go around the table. Jharrel, you got the script.
Yes.
You read the first pilot. If you can describe it in one word.
Innovative.
Nice.
Carmen.
Inventive. Okay.
Oh!
All right.
Kara.
Wild.
Olivia.
Unlikely.
Unmakeable.
Brett.
You can't pull this. Like, what?
Mine would just be what?
What counts? We'll take what? Alias.
I was gonna say wow.
And I mean, I'm watching this. They sent us the screener. Thank you so much. I'm like, where is this going? What's happening here? 13 foot. I'm like, when I read the script, I'm like, 13 foot, whatever. Oh, really? Literally, 13-foot young black man in Oakland, trying to get by, trying to make it in this community that we love so much. Talk to me about Oakland, the character of Oakland. Why was it so important to have the story set in Oakland?
Well, it's the place that I know. I know the intricacies of it. I know, and I'm a better artist when I'm dealing with things that I know, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is that there is, in the Bay Area, not that it's unique in this aspect, but there is a confluence of this, the technology that now we are all being dazzled with as the future and somehow the democratizer of power, just in and of itself, which it's not.
We should put that in quotation, democratizer.
And that's like where all of that is starting. It's also the place where the last general strike in the United States was, right? It's also the place where where longshoremen shut down the coasts, and it's also the place where the Black Panthers came out of. It's one of the places with very high wealth and very high poverty. right? So all of those contradictions. I mean, in Oakland alone, we got only 400,000 people and 5,000 homeless people, right? So those contradictions are abound, and maybe they're not unique to the Bay Area, but I see the details in them because I see them in an up close and personal
You know,
way.
you see it, you live through it, you see obscene wealth, you see the gentrification of the Bay Area, you see the titans of the industry, and then you see our communities being displaced. And I know you're intentional about your work, and there's themes there. And this is perhaps the English major in me. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm watching this and I'm like, the unseen giants of our community, hidden away, who finally get a chance to rise without giving too much of the plot away. And Jharrel, when you read the script, how'd you approach this? You're like, all right, I'm playing a 13-foot giant, kind and warm-hearted, who's hidden away by his parents because they want to protect him
Right.
in this community. And I know your work is intentional as well. You're like, why did you decide to do this story?
I mean, there's a million reasons why I decided to do it. If I think of the main one, it was the challenge that was going to come with it. I think being very selective and choosing roles that are challenging, you know, it's exciting, especially for young Black artists like us who don't often have the opportunities to do something this innovative, this wild, this creative. So this is one of those things where the second it's in front of me, I'm running to it, you know.
And let's talk about the challenge in terms of the acting that you're talking about.
The actual challenge was,
Yeah.
what were you going to say?
Well, because, you know, like, for this to all work, we have to really care about him for most stories as well. But the more fantastical it is, the more rooted in humanity it needs to be to me. And so that actor has to, you know, we have to really feel him and go along with him now. But the complicated nature of this is we're using forced perspective. We're doing that. When you see him talking to people, he's never looking at them. So
That's how you filmed it? So
yeah.
Was it green screen? Because the way it is in the show, he is literally a giant. And the camera angles and tricks is all of his friends and community are.
So we used a lot of in-camera things where we forced perspective. He's closer. We did other things, comping two pictures together. We had small, half-scale set and the full-scale set and filming two cameras at the same time. So we used every trick in the book, practical and VFX, but leaning heavily toward the practical stuff. Puppets, we had a 13-foot tall puppet. We had versions of them half-scale. Mike Epps did not want anyone to have his because it would be a voodoo doll. And
Totally valid fear and concern in some places. We can't judge that. But, it's one of those situations where you mentioned that you have this fantastical concept, but it's rooted in community and realness, right? And I think the way the show reveals it is through the relationships that your character has with his community. It first starts with his family. And without giving too much away, Carmen, you play the mom, and the first scene is you're sitting there, camera opens, here's the mom with the giant baby, and trying to figure out, and the audience is like, what's happening? Takes the baby home, and raising the giant baby in a home in Oakland. And the decision the parent makes is, I have to protect this baby. The universe will not appreciate this baby. And, as a parent in this particular role, I was just curious what intentions you bring to that role, saying, you know what, I might be harming him, but I'm doing this out of a place of love.
Yeah, I mean, I think both protecting and preparing is really what the intention is of the parents, because they recognize that in his gargantuanness, there's something very special, and there is some kind of purpose ahead, and they are aware of that. And so while there is a need to protect and sort of keep him away from danger, there is also an innate understanding that they have to prepare him for it too. And so there's this sort of simultaneous sort of back and forth, which I find as a parent in real life that I'm always struggling with. How do I create fierce children in the world, but also children that will know how to navigate in a way that keeps themselves safe? So that's, I think, the continuing dilemma that these parents are going through. And often they sort of tend on the side of caution in a way that I think is so frustrating to Cootie, who just wants to be out in the world like so many young teenagers, but there's a target on his back that his parents are aware of that he maybe isn't as cognizant of, so they have to keep that in mind.
Because he's a black man in Oakland, there's a target on him, but he's a 13-foot black man in Oakland, which means he has the biggest target on him.
Yeah, for sure, and there's just something exceptional about that. That is, I mean, it's obviously a metaphor in many ways. I think it is. Maybe Boots will tell me
I thought
I
so
got
as
it wrong
well.
and it wasn't. But like, you know, it feels that way to me. And you know, take even the racial aspect out of it. I think, like, as a generation of young people in this country, there's so many forces. By the way, I'm going to change my word from inventive to political. Like, I feel like there's so much about this.
Are you sure you want to say political?
Yeah,
It's a charged word.
Yeah, I know it is, but I think we're willing to go there with this show. Like, I think we're willing to go into like spaces that are provocative and that are challenging and that are educational. You know, we're talking about capitalism, we're talking about unions, we're talking about all kinds of things that I think people are sort of like subconsciously aware of that are influence them every day, but aren't necessarily. It's a lot of energy. It's exhausting to have to like deal with that stuff every day. And I think, you know, in some ways, Cootie is a kid that doesn't really want to have to think about that stuff, but his parents understand that he's going to have to. Any parent is going to have to prepare their kids, if they really want to navigate this world properly, for those sort of themes and those sort of issues.
And those issues come about in a way through the character, without giving too much away, Walton's character, who might or might not wear a cape and might or might not have some powers.
He doesn't wear it.
No cape, no cape. He's like, no capes. But
We tried on a cape and yeah.
what can you say about your role in this universe without me spoiling it?
You know, it's we've kind of gone back and forth. Boots and I've had multiple conversations over the last 2 or 3 days, and it's very difficult to kind of pin down what we can and can't say. So I think when I say been given permission,
He's right in front of here, so
yeah,
it's
and
easy.
yeah. So you know, look, I played a lot of characters that have been on the wrong side of history over the course of my career. This isn't one of them. You know, this is, I would just say that he's a superhero who's going through an existential crisis, you know, and whatever that means to you. We all have holes in our story if we look at it close enough. It's just a matter of, you know, if you have the will to actually look, think about it. I think I have.
Yeah, that's all right. That's it.
And I would say that about, you know, all the characters. I think, you know, I think most human beings, they want to do the right thing in the world, right? You know, they want to make the world better. If you know, sometimes they think they can't, but they would like it to be better. And I think most of the characters I write have that idea. Now the question is, what are the ideas that are taught to them that make them make the choices that they make?
What I really enjoyed watching it is, in most shows, if there's a 13-foot giant that is first revealed, if you see most Hollywood movies, fear, revulsion, violence, and yet, without giving too much away, in the first episode, the community is like, oh, this is so cool. The community embraces him, and his friends embrace him, and they're just really kind, and like, you're really cool. And the friends are here. We have Cara, Brett, and how do I pronounce it?
Allius.
Allius,
like
I messed it up.
but Allius.
Please forgive me, I messed it up earlier.
Yeah, no.
But being the friends, right, who have Cootie's back, right? How did it feel to build that relationship with him, at least in the first episode, to be like, oh, he's one of us. Yeah, he's 13 foot tall, but no problem. Let's go joyriding in Oakland and show him the town for the first time. Cara, you first.
You know, I think the initial response to seeing this huge person is the fact that he's human, right? And because he's been in isolation, which is immediate to me, he has a need to see. And I think that is the journey that I would like to take him on. And I feel like that's the journey that we all, I mean, I guess I could collectively say that the three of us would love to take him on a journey to see the most exciting thing, which is the sideshow, you know? I mean, I can't say too much.
You already said
Oh,
it.
I said
It's fine.
But yeah, sorry.
Cass,
No, it doesn't
I mean,
matter.
it's a side show. It's Oakland. You
It's
know?
Oakland.
Yeah.
And it's just a
But-
lovely scene. Where, like, you're in the car, a 13-foot kid in a car seeing Oakland for the first time through new eyes with your friends who are just taking you around. How do it feel to be like his boys in this show?
Man. Man. It's so funny because like the whole him being a huge person and you relate that to like this idea of like, you know, meeting a celebrity, you know? I don't know Jharrel Jerome like personally. And so meeting him, it's like when you meet like a famous person, right? Like your brain just goes like, you know what I mean? Like
That's what happened when you first met him. Like,
that's not exactly what happened. I feel like that's what would happen for most people,
Yeah.
you know? And it's, you know, to Kara's point, you don't really know people. You have to like, it's just really cool to go from like what you think would happen, you know what I mean? And then like it actually sort of like going down. It's not exactly how, you know, I can't prepare for seeing a giant. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that you're thinking to do. So I think it was just all sort of like natural.
and it felt natural. There was a warmth there. There was a warmth there.
Supernatural. It felt like I'd known him for like so long. Literally the first night we met each other, like we literally, it was interesting, you know. It was like late, and we were just like, it just felt so connected. I don't know, it was really easy.
Brett, how was it? Were you also like, this guy's cool? You're like, eh.
No, everybody. So, I mean, we probably have way too much fun.
Should be having fun.
We've built way too much chemistry at this point. You have to stop us from going.
Stop the charm. Stop the
There would
chemistry.
be moments sometimes where
Let's just start a
we'd be
fight
just
for the hell of it.
talking all in the car, you know, and poor Jharrel is 7 feet away from us in a smaller car, you know, looking at something like us. And we can still, like Jharrel said yesterday, he could tell the face I'm making just by how I'm
Oh, that's
seeing it
great.
because we've spent so much time together.
Yeah.
And I thought it was super cool to read the scripts and see the friends and how they connected with Cootie because I know as myself, if I met a giant, I'm totally keeping the secret. I'm totally hanging out with him. You know, there's this essence
That's my
of
giant.
magic, yeah, that I think that is inherent in all of us. You know, we all want to be a part of that. That's something special. And for him to sort of, like Kara said, for our ability, you know, for him to be able to show him things. And he gets to have the ability to show us things. I think it was an equal exchange.
And Olivia, I know the voice is struggling, but I'm going to bring you in. Your character, without giving too much, also allows Cootie to see love. And how important is love to the show?
Wow. You know, I think they show each other love. They see something in the other that feels similar, and that difference, and feeling like an outsider, or feeling that other people might perceive you differently, or may have an idea about who you are before actually getting to know you. I think they really see each other, and that was something really sweet and really pure and genuine. And I think, you know, if you ever come across something that feels authentic and genuine, you kind of like, you want to grab it and you want to hold it and you want to ride wherever it goes. You want to go with it. And I think that's what she saw.
And speaking about seeing us, I have a final minute. And since you said you're willing to go political, let's go
I
political.
mean, everything is political. That's the thing. There's a monologue that later on Walton's character has is something that I would definitely give myself, which is that, you know, they trick us into thinking certain things are political by telling us that everything isn't political. And the whole way we've been talking about this show, everything getting here, it all has to do with the way the world works. So, and it all has to do with what kind of economic system we're in. It all has to do with, which then controls, it has to do with, you know, how our culture works, all of those sorts of things.
The final 30 seconds I have, I might take 10 extra seconds. You said seeing us, right? And the show is about seeing us. We're living in a moment right now where seeing this, I didn't see this when I was growing up on TV. I didn't hear these stories, even though they were right in my backyard. And for many of us, this is reality. But to others, this is a threat. And for those who are threatened by these faces and these stories, what do you have to say to them?
Can I say something really quickly?
It's yours.
Like I feel
Mic drop.
Like I feel like a lot of what this show is about as well is about myths. about myth busting, like, and the idea that there are things that some of us is like, you know, that there's nothing inherently scary necessarily about a giant, but the fact that there are some of us that find ways to embrace it and others that find ways to repel it, I think is part of what we're exploring. Like, where does that difference lie? Why? Like, you know, and is the problem the giant, or is the problem how you're perceiving and how we like regurgitate mythologies and ideas that have just been perpetuated for time immemorial? And I think I love the fact that this show is like getting you to really be a critical thinker and like ask yourself, well, yeah, why would I think that of him and not of that of her? And I that's one of the things I think is really special about that. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, that we as people, you know, that haven't seen ourselves on television, I think we are forced to think critically every day because it's just the way we have to like operate in the world. And it's exciting that maybe we get to reflect that some of that back out to people that don't do it naturally for themselves.
And it's reflected in the show.
Can I add one
Last one, yeah.
So, you know, I paint with the colors that I know, and so I talk about the community that I know. But I think in the same way, you can listen to a song written by a Irish pop star that's really personal about her and still connect to it. The specific makes it universal, and I think the things that we're talking about here are struggles that have to do with that all the people that are watching are going to be able to see themselves in, and see what you know, and to be specific, the thing that I put out there is that the biggest contradiction in our economic system is that we have the exploitation of labor by the ruling class against the working class. And the change that we're going to have is going to be the working class overthrowing the ruling class. Now, so it's not many people watching that are in the ruling class. So most of the people that can see this, there's something for you to get from it.
It's a fantastic show. Thank you all for coming. I'm a Virgo premieres this summer on Prime Video. You can see our complete schedule of upcoming studio interviews on our website at SXSW.com/studio. These interviews are live streaming during the event on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SXSW. I'm your host, Wajat Ali. Thanks for tuning in.